Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. I have something really interesting for the workshop today. It's something we've never done before, and this is going to be my first time doing something like this. Caught in my microphone, something like this. So I would think of it more like a prototype type of thing. What this started off as is I have, let me move these away. These are about 300 journal prompts, and they're actual words, one or two words on pieces of paper like this. I cut them out. Okay. I also have all of these as well. Okay, these are prompts that I've gathered over the years. Well, I find that when I'm stuck for an idea and where they're on a printed sheet, I find that I'm always going to the same ones. So what I did, I wanted to create an altered book, basically an altered journal prompt book. And I went to Value Village and I got this really old book. It's Anna of the Five Towns by Arnold Bennett. It's an extremely old book. If I look at how old is this? This is really old. 1902, published 1908, so it's really old. And what I did is I flipped to the first few sheets, okay? I clamped the pages together, okay? So I split this apart, clamped these together with binder clamps, and I measured a square. Then with an X-Acto knife, I basically cut, turned some pages, cut all the way through. Then I took all the leftover little pieces and I kind of glued them down to create a nice little box. And I glued everything down with decoupage. When this was done, I also took decoupage and I glued the sides as well. So I just took my large 3/4 inch brush and I just kind of went like this. Okay, glued them all down like that. And you can see some of them are starting to come apart. It was a very thin coating. You have to put a lot. We're still not done with the gluing, but just to give you an idea of how I made this, it's just to save some time. You can buy stuff like this at the store. It's manufactured, so it's not going to be as authentic, but so that's where I've gotten so far. This process alone, including drying time, took 2 days. Okay. Then with this here, what I did is I sanded it. I just took, this is 120 grit sandpaper, wrapped it around a block, and I sanded it. Okay, I did it away from the paints and stuff, but sanded it on the front and the spine. Then, using the 3/4 inch flat, I applied 2 light but even coats of Tradition's multi-surface sealer. I let each layer dry in between. Now I have some tooth on this. Okay. What I'm going to do is put a coat. I want to get rid of this writing, although it's very nice. It's not going to serve any purpose once we actually start putting the stenciling on. I created a mixture. I'm going to talk about this in a sec. We're going to completely cover the book. Okay. Then we're going to stencil with Texture Fiero corner plates, okay, top and bottom. That takes care of that. We're going to distress the stencil with a metallic paint. Going to glue. I got some just random prompts here. Going to glue them onto cardstock, and then I'm going to, with decoupage, I'm going to actually fasten that in here. And then I'm going to use an Americana writer to create a frame around this. And then depending on what's going on, I may use the Americana writer to write on the side of the book as well. So the supplies for this are really random. There's no set palette or whatever. But I am going to go through everything, and the supplies that I actually end up using will be at the end of the video. Texture Fiero, red iron oxide, green gold. Elegant Finish Metallic Paint. This is Rich Espresso. DecoArt Traditions Acrylic Paints. Carbon Black, Permanent Alizarin Crimson, Opaque White. I don't know if I'm going to need, well, I use this one, but I don't know if I'm going to need these. I don't know yet. Okay? But whatever I use will be at the end of the video. Decoupage Matte for adhesion. the Americana writer to create the frame, and this is black. One step crackle, because we're going to crackle the plate. Royal Tiles stencil, this is the classic stencils. Palette. Then I've got my water container, brushes, 3/4 inch flat, number 8 bristle bright, and a number 8 round. If I need more brushes, I'll bring it in. And texture tools. So this is got some nice designs on here. So the goal is, when I'm finished, is that I can take all these prompts and just put them in here. That way, when I'm stuck on to create a journal page or a piece of artwork, and for our journal swaps at creativeartjournaling.com, and for those random challenges I like to give my YouTube followers and stuff, I'll just go in this. This does fit, but you can see this is 300 of them, and I have so many more. I think I'm going to reprint these, or just get a bigger book. Okay, then ideally you just go like that. What I do want to get, though, is I want to get a fastener around here, or just put a band. I'll probably end up with a fastener. So let me dump those, and let's get started. So I created a mixture here using the Texture Fiero red iron oxide, and I added in some permanent alizarin crimson to create something close. It's a little more violet, okay, because permanent alizarin crimson is red on the blue side, but it doesn't matter. Okay, I just want to get something close. So I could put it in like this, okay, with the palette knife. You don't need a lot of it. And I do have a lot. I'm going to end up putting that into a container because I like the color. And I'm doing this with the palette knife because it's fast. Typically I'll use the texture tools. I still am going to use the texture tools because I only have about an hour to do this video. There's a lot of drying time involved with this. So this is probably something you could do over a weekend. Okay, then on the side I'll just kind of come in, and I'll just kind of, and the book is actually damaged here, so that's okay. I'll just put something like this. Okay, and I won't cover the name. Now, with this I'm going to put that in water. Now I'm going to take the texture tool, and depending on which one you want, it doesn't really matter, whatever little design, and I can come in and I can just create kind of like a random design like this. Okay, you can do that. Okay, or I forgot about the stuff on the side, or you can just leave it flat, or just do that design, then just take this and just kind of skim it over so it's more random. Okay, this in water. And aside from all the traditional, the general supplies, baby wipes, paper towel, all that stuff, okay, that stuff you should already have. Now we're going to let this dry. Before I do that, just gonna wipe the edges so nothing goes inside the book. And on the side, I'm just gonna wipe that down a little bit. I don't want it so thick. It's a nice stain. Just get another baby wipe. This should have been done at the end, actually, because I'm going to be handling the book. There we go. It's a nice stain. Okay. What I can do then is, when I'm finished the book, is I can actually do the back cover in the same style. So now all we have to do is wait for it to dry. I don't use a heat gun when drying these because I want it to dry naturally. If I use a heat gun, it may dry the top a little bit too quick, and then the inside won't really have time to dry. So that's going to be put aside. While I'm waiting for that, I took a just regular text, and I have a little, this is a pizza box thing that I actually use for the template. So I measured that out, and I put the paper on top until I could actually feel something, okay, and I liked what I got there. So this I don't need anymore. I'm going to paint this, and now, okay, here we go. I'm already stuck down needing some colors. I'm going to go with a brighter color, transparent yellow iron oxide, because it's transparent. Go with my round brush, and I'm just going to put a wash of this color on here. The paper is very thin, but we're going to seal it. Where's my tweezers? Okay, keep it rough like that. Let me get a close-up. You can keep it rough like that, or you can do something a little bit more even. Completely up to you. I bet you transparent red iron oxide would look nice on there too. Let me get that. And let me just clean up that outside edge. This project by itself doesn't take a lot of time. It's all the drying that's involved. It's the drying. Let me just get my heat gun and just dry this. Okay, same process now. Get everything out of that brush. There we go. There, how pretty is that? Here we are. And you can make the dark border around there as big as you want. It doesn't matter. Okay? You can also just drag the paint inside, you know, on the craft mat. Doesn't matter. So now what I want is I want to dry this again. Doesn't take long. Okay. Oh, I tore that a bit. I tore that just a little bit. Let me just put a little bit of color on there. Oh, now I have a spot. That's okay. Now I'm going to take some decoupage matte. And, oh, let me get another brush. Just going to get a little number 8. And just going to put a layer of decoupage matte on this. And all this is going to do is just stiffen up the paper a bit, because we're going to be pouring one-step crackle on this, but I want this to be sturdy. So we're going to be doing this on the top only, not on the bottom. You can print this on cardstock if you want as well. Okay, to me the book page is fine. And when I actually glue it onto the book, if it gets wrinkled, I don't care. The wrinkles are what makes it more interesting. Now, if you don't have one-step crackle, the next best thing is triple thick. That'll be really glossy though. So that's up to you. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now everything, I'll let everything dry. This one's already starting to dry. You can see these patches here? That's where it's starting to dry. So I'll let everything sit. I'll come back in about an hour. And if it's not dry, either way, when we come back, everything will be dry. Then what we'll do is we'll stencil the corner plates on. And in the meantime, though, before I do that, I'm going to put on a few more layers on top of this. Alright, so I actually let this dry for about, about 4 hours. Okay, it's nice and dry now. Okay, so when this is all finished, after a few days after it's all done, then I'll work the back. But I think we're just going to paint it, because this is really, or maybe I'll put felt pads on it or something. Okay, so now I'm going to take our royal tiles, and I'm going to bring it right in the corner. Now I can choose, I can do it this way, or I can do it this way. I think I'm actually going to do it this way first. But I have the spine to look at. So if I put that over where the fold of the spine is, when this actually opens up, it's going to bend. So I have to bring it out a little bit more. Now I'm going to be using the Fiero green. I'm looking at that, and I think I want to make that a little bit darker. So, or do I? Yeah, I don't want it to look like a Christmas book. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of carbon black to that. I want it really, really dark, but I want it to look green. Oh, that's nice. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Wow. Okay. Let me think of how I can. I'm going to. This is a laser stencil. Should be the same. I'm going to do it this way. Then I'm going to slide it down. If I were to do it this way. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of. I don't want to get the big part of the stencil over top. So this wouldn't work. So let me. I'm just talking my way through it. Okay. Make sure I don't go too far. There's a little dot there. I'm not going to put anything in there. You know, whatever you do, don't slide the stencil. I'm not putting anything over that dot. Lift that up. Now, if I wanted to try to use up that, see here, I would typically use this, but I have to hold this up, and I have to do it right. Yeah, I think I'm just going to use this, and I'll just tilt this a little bit. Line that up. Normal process, you let it dry. Okay. Let it dry. I'm making sure that I've got a nice thick coat on that, but not where it's going to be like an inch thick. The stencil's up a little bit here. So that's not going to be a clean. Oh yeah, it's all right. Oh, beautiful. Now all this here, I'm just going to scrape that off and put it into a little container. I have a big container of all this extra leftover mixture. And It ends up being dark at the end though. Now we're going to, let's get a placement on this. I'm going to have to cut this down. It's too long. So I'm looking, because I have to remember, I have to make a frame on this. So it's too wide and too long. So I'm going to cut that down a little bit. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to just use scissors, it's no big deal. I can always repaint this after. How's that look? Does that look alright? Okay. And what's that? Oh, that's that. I'm not going to use a decoupage out of the container. I'm just going to reach over, and I actually have some weld bond glue. This, it's a Canadian product. It is really, really adhesive. This is for stuff that I use this stuff when I want to glue things that typically decoupage won't glue. I'm putting a good amount in here because it's so textured. This will also dry clear. Don't need that much. I know I don't need that much. Okay. And the one nice thing about this is that it'll be set in about a minute. I can start working on it in about 10, and it'll be completely fused in 24 hours. Now I'm just pushing the glue around. What I'm doing is I'm pushing that glue into the pores. Now, if I had not used the Texture Fiero, and if the book was just basically a display piece and I wasn't going to use it, I would have used decoupage. But because this is going to be a highly functioning book, I want it to be extra strong. And the decoupage that I have in my little squeeze bottle is almost empty. Now I'm going to be putting the black border around it with the Americana writer, so I don't have to worry. This is going to dry clear, so I'm not worried about that. This will also make a perfect seal underneath, because I'm going to be pouring, once I get that border up, I'm going to be pouring One Step Crackle on this, so it'll make a nice seal. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, I just don't want this to come off. If this comes off, oops, I just smudged that. If this comes off, then the whole piece will be ruined. Now, I smudged this. Let me just flatten that out a bit. There we go. Okay, gonna let that dry. And I can save some time by taking the writer, and I'll do the inside border. Okay, I'll do the inside border and get a close-up there. So right on the inside. I was actually going to cut some cardboard strips and paint them because sometimes my hand is very shaky. Whoops, see, that's what I mean. That's what I mean, jelly bean. It's coming out very consistently. And my eyes are really bad. I have to be so close without my glasses to see what I'm doing. But you don't want to see my gray hair, do you? There. Now, I'm going to let that dry. And then when that's dried, then I will go and I'll put another border around it. Okay? And so that's going to be a bit of a thicker border. And then when it's dry, I'll come in and I'll distress it or dry brush a little bit of metallic paint. But inside, there's enough of a border that's raised that'll hold the one-step crackle, but this has to dry first. Okay, so I'm going to give this probably overnight to dry, because this has to be really, really set. Because if I pour the one-step crackle and this is still wet, it's just going to seep out. This will also give time for this to cure. So I'm going to dry brush the border, and I'll dry brush this as well. Okay, it's been an overnight thing. So we're looking at about 20 hours later, and this is all dried now. And I don't know if the camera will be able to focus, but just to show you the cracking that's taken place now. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so really all that's left to do now is just to dry brush some gold on top of this. I also want to write whimsically, I guess is a word, prompts. Okay, and then inside, I thought of an idea. I want to use this cheesecloth that I was painting something with a black stain, and I thought it would be so cool if I could, with it using decoupage, is to kind of fasten this in here. Okay, nice, like a little cozy thing, then trim it where I can actually then wrap it over, all to make it look like really, really old, and then when it closes and opens, the stuff won't fall out. So I'm going to do that as well. Okay, so let's first, yeah, I can actually do the side now. Let me do the side, and I'm going to use the black metallic writer. Yeah, just get that going, and I'm just going to write prompts. My writing is horrendous, but I figure with this, you can't really go wrong. Unless I spelled prompts wrong. Make the letters all different. And you know what I'm thinking? Should I have used gold? No, let's just with this. I'll distress some gold, or dry brush. I keep saying distress. Making sure that I'm not going over the actual fold, where the cover folds over. There we go. Hit that so the paint goes back down. Cap that, and let's actually let's do this now, because that won't take long to dry. The inside will take a bit, just a little bit to dry, but we can do that at any time. Alrighty, so I'm going to get a good brush for this. Let me get, where's my nice little round brush? No, flat brush. So I'm going to get a number 10 flat, a nice one. And try not to stick my hand in the wording on the spine. And just touch this. And I'm thinking that I may actually put a little bit of this on the cover. The cover, although red is nice, I'm not a real fan of red. I like earth tones. That's what I like. That's just me. Mind you, this book does look old. I want to get a little hit of gold there. There we go. And just keep going. I'm not covering everything because I want it to look like that the book's been worn. Okay. There's not much in a way that I can spruce this up to make it more entertaining for you. I mean, okay, so that's that. I did it again. I really have to stop touching this side of the book. Okay, let me turn it here. So now let's put a little bit of... Now if you want your gold to be a little bit brighter, you can do that. That's fine. The good thing about this is that you can always wipe it off and put a different color on, or if you put on too much. And I was thinking about if I actually distressed inside here a little bit more, because you can actually put paint right inside, right in here. Because of the cracks, you can actually put paint in there. And I thought that would actually really look cool, but I'm not going to do it with the gold or rich espresso. Let me grab some transparent red iron oxide. No, that might be a little bit bright. Let me go with burnt umber. And I'll just put it in here. Now I'm going to rinse out my good brush and get my old brush and just scrub this in. This is why I wasn't worried about cutting that paper down. If this was a lot larger, I would just use my Bristle Bright, because it's perfect for this. When I have brushes that just become so worn that for actual fine detail, they're not any good. They're no good anymore. I don't throw them out. I keep them for stuff like this. There we go. Look how I did it again. Jeepers creepers. That I'm gonna have to wipe that off and do it again. I thought I was smart doing that first. And just rub and rub and rub. That looks really old. Then it's just a matter of figuring out how much you want to how much you want to actually fade that out. With the burnt umber on this, the good thing is that you can build it up in layers. And I want to make this a little bit heavier over here. Alright, how does that look? That looks pretty good. Doesn't take much. Now let me clean this up. Look how I smudged it. Look how I smudged it. Q-tips will come in handy for this. And this is just me being careless, that's all. Told you I wasn't going to edit out my mistakes. Because I can pretty well guarantee that this will happen to at least a few of you. I do stuff in the moment and I don't really pay attention, and I should. There we go. Let's try that again. Fix that S. And the M. So now this here, this is the what I've been waiting for. So I can take this and really cut it any way I want. So if I think of like this here, that's actually pretty good. I could leave the whole thing the way it is, but it's not going to actually fold over too well, so might as well trim it down. You can use, I actually have black tissue paper that I could have done that as well. That would have been pretty neat too. Are we still in one place? Yeah, this isn't dripping, so we're good. So let me line this up a little bit. And use my 3/4 inch flat. And I'm just using decoupage for this. Put a good amount. And I'm just putting a little bit on the edge. That way it'll stay there as well. Get a good amount in there. It'll saturate the cheesecloth, which is what we want. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. And once that's fastened, I'm just going to take the decoupage and cover it. This way the little pieces of paper won't get caught. Okay, so you get my drift, what I'm doing here. It's an amazing product for paper. Now I ran out. You could also, if you wanted to, you could actually do this with gloss. That's fine. That doesn't matter. And I will let this sit and dry for about a day, and then I'll put the prompts inside. This will dry clear, so I'll still be able to see the words. And the word prompt on the spine, I may dry brush the metallic glaze on it. I'm not sure yet. I may. So at this point now, I have to decide, do I want to be able to cover that, close that, or do I want to trim it down even further? Just open it like this. That's, I'm not sure, you know? Because I figure if I fold the stuff over, the little papers will get caught. So maybe I'll just actually trim it down. Maybe I'll trim it down. Because yeah, I covered the bottom so the prompts wouldn't get caught. But that's going to happen anyways when I bring them over. So might as well do this. And then I want to show you a little box that I got. And the next altered book that I'm going to do, I have to find a book big enough, is a book with drawers. Get a good amount in there. When it comes to this type of thing, I'd rather have more than not enough. Especially if you're giving it away, the last thing you want to do is for it to fall apart. Because that just shows that shoddy quality. Be proud of your work. I can stain this as well when the time comes, when it's dry. This will be dry tomorrow. That's not going anywhere. While I'm at it, take some decoupage and just going to do the edges now, just to further strengthen it. Use up the leftover stuff. Okay. This will all dry clear, remember. So what can we do with the first few pages? You can leave them the way they are. You can write on them. Okay, just have to leave this open. But you can put pockets in here to slip additional journal prompts, which is probably what I'm going to do. Now I just tore this page, which doesn't matter to me. Because the prompts that I have will not fit in here, so I could make a pocket and put larger prompts. Okay, this is actually still okay. So now let me put this aside, and I want to show you the idea that I had. So I've got these Mission watercolor paints. They're from my Jello, and I just wanted to try them out. I like the box, but you can put the prompts into this. Let me just close that. Okay. Then if you think, don't even look at this part, but imagine that this is the edge of the book. Okay? And this book is a little small, but if I did it this way, you do a cutout here, and you actually put a little thing, and you can actually pull this tray in and out. That would actually be cool. I have one on my blog that I did for a swap, but I want to show you one that I received. And this is from my friend Rena. She's in Edmonton, and I got this one from her. She got mine. I got hers. It was a swap. And I'll post a picture of mine that I did, but this is really pretty and has romantic on it. And little drawers. Now the little drawers had little embellishments, which I took out and used. You know, she beautiful inside with tags and photo transfer. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So that's another thing that you can do as well. The project with the drawers I'm going to do with this big one. So I have to find a book that's a little bit bigger. And if you're not sure, you just kind of put it down and see how many book pages you want. You want to leave about 1/4 of an inch of book paper on top and on the bottom, so this will have something to stick to. And we're ready to go with that. Now, what do I do now to show you the front cover? I can just put parchment paper in between temporarily, just so I can close this and basically say thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this workshop. I hope that you give this a try. I really do, because this is so much fun. And you can basically from here, you can build it up any way you want. You can put other embellishments, you can put ribbon, you can do whatever you want with it. So I really hope that you give it a try. And check out my blog at artplace.ca. Check out our art journaling group at creativeartjournaling.com. And until next time, stay inspired.